Thank you for coming tonight. I'm really glad you're here because we're in the midst of launching this scanner project throughout the world, and that's the reason for my tour around Southeast Asia right now. And in the process of doing the tour, we've been in a lot of different cities in the last 2 weeks, and the results of those meetings are all uniform. Everybody's really excited to find out about the scanner, how it works, what it does, how it works in your body, and how it can improve your health, and in turn improve the health of the whole world. And that's really been my mission for the last 2 years now, that I've decided to go back to work. On the introduction, you heard that I was retired. About 4 years ago, I actually did retire, and I was 40 years old, and I'd made over $20 million, and I'd had a great success with the company, and I had a great amount of fun traveling around the world, and I just figured that was enough, and I was done. And after 2 years, I was bored out of my mind with retirement, and I decided I've got to go do something else with my life. I don't want to just sit here, in my house and manage my investments. I need to actually be productive. I need to do something that can actually help the world. And so when I was pondering what to do with the rest of my life and what kind of contribution I could make, all of a sudden the biophotonic scanner showed up. And I don't believe there's any mistakes in this life, you guys. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I can tell you right now that I know for sure that the biophotonic scanner coming to this company happened for a reason. And all of us here tonight are part of that reason. And if you're here for the first time tonight, then you don't know what you're in for yet, perhaps, but you're here for a reason, a purpose. And as we go through the information tonight, I'm going to expect one of two things out of everybody here tonight. Number one is if you are not yet on our LifePak product, I'm going to encourage you to do that, and that would be the bare minimum. At least if you don't do anything else, make sure you at least do that for yourself, okay? Make sure you do that tonight. And then secondly, if you see the vision of where I think this scanner is going, where many other people see the scanner going, if you can catch the vision of our mission, if you want to be part of this cause to help us get this technology spread throughout the world and let it go out there and do what it can really do, then we're going to invite you to join us, to get involved with us, and to help us do this and to take this technology around the world. Before we get into the heart of the presentation, I'd like to have everybody take your cell phones, because I know you've all got one of these, okay? And mine's still on too, and I'm going to turn mine off, okay? And this is a major pet peeve of mine. I really want everybody to take your cell phone and turn it completely off, okay? I really don't want to hear any cell phones ring at all for the next 1 hour. And I'm going to go pretty fast through this presentation, and I can guarantee you right now there is no phone call that you can receive in the next hour that's more important than what you're going to hear right here in the next 60 minutes. So John F. Kennedy, the great president of the United States, had a famous saying, and he said, "Wherever you're at, be there." And many of us have our bodies physically someplace, but our minds are someplace else. And we get distracted when we get a text message, or we get distracted even when it vibrates. And our brains leave the room and they go and we miss something. And so please, if you would, not be so rude as to interrupt everybody else who's come so far, many from Malaysia today, and people from Hong Kong here today, and people from all over the whole Southeast Asia. If you'd please have the courtesy to turn your phones completely off so they don't ring, they don't distract anybody else, and then we will get the job done right here in the next 60 minutes. Thank you very much. Maybe that's better. If you can turn the lights down a little bit, guys, I think we'll be able to see the screen a little better. Can you guys see the screen from the back? Is it okay? All right. All right, so when we look at what happens to 100 people, it goes like this. 36% of the people out of 100 are dead by age 65. They didn't even make it there. 54% are dead broke. They never really put together any real retirement plan of any kind, anything to fall back on. They're literally subsisting on government retirement. So they have nothing to speak of. They live month to month. That's 90% of the people, 9-0, in one of the richest countries in the world. 90% literally don't make it financially. 5% are still working for a living at age 65. And many of these people are those who started a new business after age 40 and they blew it. The business didn't make it. It went bankrupt, and they spend the rest of their lives paying off their failed business debts. And some people just never had any retirement. so they have to keep working until they die. 4% in America are actually well-to-do. These people have made $3 or $4 million in their life. They've got a second home someplace, perhaps. They can travel, and they're fine financially. They've done a good job. They worked hard, and somehow they were able to stack up that much money. 1% is considered wealthy. Do you know what it takes to be wealthy in America today? It takes $10 million U.S. exclusive of all debt to be considered truly wealthy. And that means in America you've got to make $20 million, so you'll pay half of it in taxes basically, so you can have $10 million left over so you can be truly wealthy. Okay, that's a pretty big number for most people to try to achieve, right? Most people have a hard time contemplating they would ever get to that kind of number. And it's only 1% that actually does that in the United States. Now, as I've looked at that pie chart over the years that I've been aware of these statistics, I've often said, okay, which one on this pie chart would I like to emulate? I certainly don't want to emulate the dead people, right? Because I would be dead then. What I want to do is I want to find out how that 1% that became wealthy actually did that. How did they do it? What kind of jobs did they have or business did they have? What did they do to become truly wealthy? And so when I analyzed that, I found the numbers, and they come from actually the 2000 census in America. And if you dig into this, it's an interagency report produced by seven different federal agencies. And in that report, they show you how the 1% actually did it. Because if you knew that information, you'd be able to replicate that yourself. 1% of the 1% were athletes or entertainers. Now, I'm not very tall to play basketball in the NBA, and I don't have a great voice to sing, so I couldn't make it that way, could I? And most of us can't. 5% were super salespeople. 10% were chief executive officers or owners of public companies, had public stock. 10% were the top professionals, top lawyers or doctors or people like that. I didn't fit in any of those categories. I wasn't any of those things. It was kind of depressing. But the good news for me and for all of you here tonight is that you can fit in the blue area on the bottom here. Okay, the vast majority of people that actually made it in America and were truly wealthy did it by owning their own business. Okay, and I'm going to show you tonight a business of your very own that you can have for yourself. What I think is the greatest entrepreneurial opportunity that you will ever see in your life. Now that's a big statement to make, and there's a lot of people here that are business people and so forth, and you're successful already, and you might take exception with my statement that it's the greatest entrepreneurial opportunity you'll ever see. But I'm going to prove that to you tonight. And I'm going to do it with all my energy and my passion that I have for this mission that we're on around this world. So that's what happened. Now, can we all just agree on one thing before we move on tonight? Do we all admit that we'll never, ever make it financially working for somebody else? Is that true? Okay, it is absolutely true. You cannot have a good enough job where they'll pay you $20 million before you retire, right? So you can pay taxes and have $10 million, okay? Your boss is just going to say, if you walk in and say, I need a raise because I'm not on track, I've got to get on track here, then they're going to say, there's the door, and don't let it hit you in the butt on the way out. Because they can go hire somebody else to do what you do now if you decide you don't want to do it anymore, for about what they're paying you to do it. You have no leverage with your boss, okay? And so the point is, you got to find your own thing. That's a given. Everybody knows that. And so when we look at that, if we all agree that we have to have our own business, and we know that's true, then let's talk about the kinds of businesses that you can actually have. I've listed just a few types of businesses. There's hundreds of types of businesses in this world. Here's several of them. And I just want you to know that when you look at any business, whether it's small businesses, stores, restaurants, whether it's real estate, distributorships, franchises, brokerages, whatever it might be, any kind of business, every time you get in your own business, you all of a sudden have the ability to leverage yourself. You can get the upside that a business can provide, and good businesses can actually make you wealthy, but you also pick up the other side, and that's called risk. It's kind of like when you get in your own business, you pick up a sword, and the sword has blades on both sides of the sword. It's a two-edged sword. And one edge cuts up. And when leverage works well and it goes up, it works great for you. You buy a property, 10 years later it's worth twice what you paid. You pay the bank back the original mortgage, and you get all the extra. That worked great, didn't it? That's when leverage works in your benefit. But most of the time, it cuts down. It cuts down 90% of the time on new businesses. They don't make it. And so it's an ugly thing, okay? I am going to show you a business tonight that is the greatest business. And why? Because it is your own business. You can get all that leverage, but it's a sword with only one blade, only one edge on it. It can only cut up. It cannot cut down. And so we call this business network marketing. Okay, and you can see on the bottom, network marketing, yes, you get leverage. No, you don't have any risk. It's the only kind of business that I'm aware of where you can get incredible upside with no downside. And that's what makes it the best kind of business in the world, you guys. And some of you came here tonight at the invitation of other people, and you came here because you respected them and you promised you'd come listen, but you have no intention of getting involved with us tonight. You're here to fulfill a commitment. Okay, I want you to change your mind. Okay, if you get more information, then you can change your position in your mind, okay? And I'm going to give you some pretty powerful information. What I've already given you has put a framework around our discussion so you can understand where the whole thing fits. A job will never cut it, okay? And so if you have your own business, good for you. But analyze that business against the one I'm going to show you tonight. And ask yourself the questions if it stacks up or not. And if you're here saying, but I hate network marketing, okay? Some people love it, some people hate it. I don't know which you are. All I can say to you is this. If you really understood it, I think you would do it. I really believe you would engage and engage aggressively if you really understood the true power points of network marketing. Because there's some key critical points that most people miss, and they miss them completely, okay? This is not a business without work, effort, and energy. You are going to have to work really hard. But you got to work hard in any business, okay? That's no different. The difference here is you work hard one time for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and it can be over. It can be done for life. It's called the accelerated game of life. My sponsor, who's a very successful person in this industry, he's made over $50 million in this industry. He has a very important saying that he says. You might want to write this one down. He says successful people compress more activity into shorter time frames at critical junctures in their business career. That's what timing's all about, you guys. Can you see an opportunity when it's put in front of you? Can you recognize disruptive technology when you see it? If you can't recognize disruptive technology, there's not a lot of hope for you, okay? Do you have enough vision that you can recognize these things and then seize the timing and compress more activity into a shorter time frame at a critical juncture when the timing's right? That's what business success is all about. All time's not equal. There's certain points in time, certain points in your life when you've got to really do it and really focus. And if you do it for 2 or 3 or 4 years, it can make lifetime results. And it doesn't take a lifetime to generate those results. And this is one such time, just like that. And you're going to see that tonight as we talk about the scanner coming here. This whole mobile scanner model is going to launch in the first quarter of next year in this market and in all of Southeast Asia. And it's going to launch into the stores in mainland China coming up next year in January, and it's going to launch in a mobile model in China probably 1 year after that. We're going to place hundreds of thousands of scanners all throughout Asia, over 100,000 scanners. They will be in somebody's organization. They will be in someone's business. And if they're not in yours, you'll miss the greatest opportunity that you ever had in your life, okay? Many of you are already involved with our company, and you know we have a great opportunity. But it's about to get about 5 times bigger. That's what's going to happen. So get ready for that, and let's talk about the 5 key points. If you don't do our company, you don't get involved with us, still write these down, you guys, because if it doesn't end up being for you tonight, and this is definitely not for everybody, okay? If it's not for you, that's okay. Well, thank you for being here tonight. Please write down those 5 points, because the next time somebody approaches you about a franchise or investing in another kind of business, just stack it up against those 5 points. If it doesn't have those 5 points, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even consider it. This is hard enough. There's failures anyway without having to not have the key components I need. And so these are the 5 components of successful business, really successful business. Number 1, I want to have proprietary intellectual property. I want to have patents or copyrights. I want to have something that no one else can do. If I'm out there selling suits or tires or refrigerators like 1,000 other people, then I'm going to compete on service and price. And and I have no margins, and I have nothing unique about what I can do. When I've got proprietary intellectual property, that erects a huge barrier of entry to my competitors. They cannot do what I can do when I have those intellectual property rights. Number two, I've got really big trends that are pushing my product into the market. I can have the greatest technology in the world, but if there's no demand in the market, who cares? Then there's nothing to be done to build a business. Number three, we've got to have great products. They've got to deliver real value, and they've got to be highly consumable. I would never be in a business where I sell a one big ticket item once every 10 years to a customer, and that's it. You know why I would never do that? Because I never could create a recurring residual model. I've got to have consumption of product to generate a residual income stream to myself. And everybody in this room, the day will come for every person in this room when you're going to want to stop working someday, and yet you're going to want to still get the money, right? That's called retirement, right? Okay, how do you do that in your own business unless you have highly consumable products that people purchase once, and they're driven to continue that consumption, and they buy them every month for the rest of their lives? Okay, that's key. Number four, excuse me. You better have a great company, and we do. And we'll talk about our 20-year track record, about our compensation track record, okay? If your company's not innovative, if they're not willing to take some risk to expand into new markets and to do new things, then you really don't have a future opportunity. If they're not fiscally conservative and can't keep control of the money, then you don't have a business because they'll blow it eventually and it'll be bankrupt, okay? You've got to have a track record. We've got great track record, great management. Number five, you've got to be in the right vehicle. And the vehicle has to have leverage as part of it. Okay, if you don't have leverage in your life, if you're trying to let it all depend on you to make your income, it's never going to happen. There's not enough for you to go around, okay? There's only so many hours in the day. How do you find a way to get paid on more than you can do yourself? Well, that's what your own business is kind of all about. But most businesses are fatally flawed. They've got the wrong idea from the beginning. They never can really grow. They're dependent on one person anyway, and it's just a problem, okay? This is not a business like that. This is a real business. This can get really, really big, okay? So that's what you want to know, are those 5 points. Let's do those one by one, and I will tell you when I go to the next point. It all started right here with the cover of Time magazine back in 1992. This was 12 years ago, actually. And right on the cover of Time, they said the real power of vitamins, how they may help prevent heart disease, cancer, and the ravages of aging. Well, that was a big breakthrough article, 50-page special report. And in that report, they introduced 2 words for the first time to most Americans, and it was free radicals and antioxidants. And most Americans had never heard those terms before in 1992. You probably hadn't heard them either at that point, 10 years, 12 years ago now, right? And in that article, there was a prediction made by one of the experts. And that expert was one of the scientists, and he said someday there'll be a way to screen people for levels of free radical damage in their body, or screen them for antioxidant protection in their body. And it will be easier than we screen people for cholesterol today. And that was his prediction. Someday we'd be able to do it. Well, folks, Pharmanec's announcement to the whole world right now is that we have done that. That someday they talked about is today. It's right now. And we have the device that can do it. That prediction has been fulfilled, and we're the owners of the fulfillment. We have it, okay? And way easier than making you bleed to find out your cholesterol. No bleeding, okay? So it's a major breakthrough. It's never been possible before to determine this level in human beings until now. Okay, the only way you could do it before was draw blood, send it off to a laboratory for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, $300 or $400 US to get the results back, okay? And even then, it's somewhat faulty because you did it in the blood. And the blood's not a stable medium, okay? It's a major, major breakthrough, and we have the global exclusive rights to that technology. What are free radicals and antioxidants? I'm sure you're aware, aren't you, of what they are? The free radicals are the bad guys, the antioxidants are the good guys, right? Pretty simple, really. You just need to have a lot of antioxidants in your body, but most people don't, as we now can find out, because we can measure them and see where they're at. And we find out that over 95% of the people we scan are deficient. That's a pretty big market, isn't it? And we provide a solution for them. Everybody here has taken an apple, and you've cut the apple in half and set it on your kitchen counter before. And right before your eyes, within minutes, that apple starts to go brown, doesn't it? The rotting and rusting process immediately begins to take place on that apple. Why does that happen? Anybody? Why? Free radicals. From where? The air, right? The oxygen in the air is toxic, you guys. Oxygen's interesting. We cannot live without it, but we cannot live indefinitely in its presence either. It'll eventually rust our bodies and rot us completely eventually, and we'll die someday. Okay? Every breath you draw kills you a little bit. Keeps you alive, but it kills you a little bit. Oxygen's interesting. That's why we don't have an atmosphere of 100% oxygen. We'd all die really fast. Okay? So that's the whole point. So you can't live without it, you can't live forever with it, and you just have to mitigate it. That's what you've got to do. So if you're going to put out a nice fruit tray because friends are coming over and you've sliced apples and peaches and pears and mangoes and everything, what do you do to protect that fruit so it doesn't go brown and yucky instantly? What do you do? Lemon juice. Somebody said it. You squeeze lemon juice on it, right? And all of a sudden it protects it, okay? I always ask the men that. The men go, saran wrap, plastic wrap. Wrong. Wrong answer. It's lemon juice, okay? The women all know, the men don't. It's lemon juice, okay? So we put lemon juice on. What is in lemon juice that protects the surface of vitamin C? And everybody knows that vitamin C is a potent antioxidant, right? And you've got to apply the antioxidants if you want to stop the oxidants or the rusters or the rotters, right? And so if you put the lemon juice on, it'll protect that apple for 4, maybe 5 hours. But eventually, the incessant pounding of the oxygen in the air will eventually exhaust the protective effect of that vitamin C. It'll be consumed. It'll be totally spent. And it can't fight anymore. It can't neutralize the free radicals anymore. And all of a sudden, the rotting process resumes, just like it does in our bodies. Right? Unless what? Unless we do what? Reapply the lemon juice. Right? If we put more lemon juice on, it'll protect it for another 5 hours. Okay, and then we got to put it on again, right? What's our lemon juice? This is the lemon juice, guys. You need to apply it twice a day. And if you do that, you're going to stop those free radicals from doing the kind of damage they would normally do in your body. Okay, let's talk about free radicals for a minute. Where do free radicals come from? Well, there's 3 main areas. There's the external sources, the internal sources, and the stupid sources. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Let's talk about these for just a moment. Okay, we can get them from sunlight. We can get them from stress, but of course you guys live in the island here. There's no stress at all in Singapore, right? No relationship problems, no money problems, no problems at all. Everything's great. Okay? Toxins. That's another one. People think, thank goodness there's no toxins in my life. Really? Well, it comes right down to the chair you're sitting on right now. The seat and the back of the chair you're sitting on are made out of oil. They're nylon or rayon. Half the clothes you guys wear are rayon, nylon, polyester. Okay, those are made from oil. They slowly decay every day. Give off little fumes, even the carpet in this room, right? Same thing. All of a sudden, these fumes get breathed by us. We breathe them in our bodies. They generate free radical damage. Even the deodorant you put under your arms, unless you use New Skin deodorant, okay? That will generate free radicals because it has chemicals in it that aren't good for you. If you take food and you put it in a plastic container and you microwave that and you get it too hot in your microwave oven, you release dioxin right into your food and you eat it and put it in your body, one of the most potent carcinogens known to man. And if you get your clothes dry cleaned at the dry cleaner, the chemical used by dry cleaners is classified as a carcinogen. And you put that right on the skin of your body and suck it right in. It's really hot. And so you go out to your car. The windows are all the way up. It's just baking inside your car. Everything inside your car, from the dashboard to the gauges, to the plastic over the gauges, to the steering wheel, to the seats, everything is synthetic. It's all made out of oil originally. And it's in there baking. It's 150 degrees in there, right? Almost 50 degrees Celsius in there. It's ready to melt, okay? And you can see the fumes from outside the car. And you open the door, you jump in and crank the air and just suck all those fumes in. Do you do that? Do you want me to keep going? It's really ugly. I can keep going all night about how bad it is. There are a lot of toxins, okay? A lot of toxins out there. Pollution of every kind. X-rays will do it. Radioactivity. That's another one. People think, thank goodness I don't have any radioactivity in my life. Really? You got one of these? Put it right up your head? Every day? Turn on your microwave and stand in front of it while it's going around. Okay? Airline travel. Travel from here to Los Angeles at 35,000 feet, that's the equivalent of taking 4 chest x-rays in radiation. A lot of radiation up there at 35,000 feet. Okay? Those Singapore airline girls, they look pretty good, but they won't stay that way unless they get some life back in their bodies, okay? All right. And medications will even do it to you. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of your great-great-grandparents had to deal with cell phones, microwaves, dry cleaners, or airplanes? None of them. Can we admit that our environments become a lot more toxic in the last 50 years? Can we agree that our environment's deteriorated, that it's not as good for our health? And can we also agree that our food sources have also deteriorated, that the soil's over-farmed, that it doesn't have the nutrients to give up to the plants in the first place, that people have used so many chemicals and pesticides and fertilizers that our foods are contaminated? And it's no wonder that we have increasing heart disease, increasing cancer rates, increasing diabetes, increasing stroke. Are we shocked? Why? It's obvious why. Okay? You can't crawl in a hole. You got to live your life. So what you need to have is a really big defense, right? What's your defense? Every day, twice a day, right? That's what you got to do. It's an absolute given. Metabolism's like it's always been. About 75,000 hits per cell per day on your DNA. Did you guys know you have a whole new body every 400 days? Did you know that? Every cell in your body is new every 400 days. Your body's constantly replacing old cells and replicating. But if the DNA is damaged and it can't replicate properly, then it mutates. And if it mutates too much, then what happens? You got big problems, right? You need to protect your DNA. How do you do that? That's how you do it, okay? In fact, the onslaught of free radicals is so overwhelming that if all of us in this room had no antioxidants in our bodies at all, we'd all be dead in 3 days. 3 days is all it would take, and free radicals would get us all. Okay? It is critical. You do it. It's called life and death that you do this. Okay? Will you die tomorrow if you don't take your life back? No, probably not. Okay? Will you die next week? No, probably not. Okay? Will you most assuredly live a lesser quality of life and probably die sooner in the end? Absolutely. Okay? It's cumulative. You got to take care of yourself every day. Smoking. This is one of my pet peeves also, guys. Okay? It's just absolutely insane to smoke. Every cigarette's over 10 billion free radicals ingested into your lungs. 10 billion. You smoke 2 packs a day, you're talking on the order of 400 billion extra free radicals ingested into your body. And then all of a sudden we know that smokers have 95% of the lung cancer. Are we shocked? Why should we be? You think you can do that with impunity? You're going to take the hits. You're going to suffer the consequences. If you smoke and you're here tonight, it has to stop, okay? Do it now, today. Don't do another cigarette in your body. You can't afford it, okay? And if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your spouse. And if you won't do it for her, then do it for your children. What example are you setting? We got to stop this nonsense someplace, okay? Get scanned. Look how low you are. Stop smoking. Your score skyrockets. It jumps. It's a given fact that you're going to live better if you just stop doing that. Okay, so make sure we get that done. This is an article in USA Magazine. This is a magazine in the U.S., and they talked about the science of beauty. Huge article on what makes people good-looking. And they asked the question, what makes a person truly good-looking? Well, do you know it's not just topical, guys? Do you realize that a lot of it has to come from the inside? Right? Look at this. Right in the middle of the article here. Unless you eat at least 5 colorful fruits or vegetables a day, you risk, notice the term, you risk not getting enough antioxidants, the prime defense against free radicals. You want to look good? You want to look good for a long time? You want to live long and live well? You want to be really beautiful? Take your life back, okay? It'll help you an awful lot in that category. How many servings a day of fruits and vegetables do you eat? Think about this for a minute. The average person in this country eats between 2 and 3 servings a day. You've heard from grade school you're supposed to eat 5 a day, 5 to stay alive, right? But nobody does it. You know why? Because we're in a hurry. Oh, we're late. We got to run here, got to run there, got to do this, right? Yeah. We're always in a rush. Grab that. I know it's not that good, but I'm starving. So we eat it, right? That's what we do. And we push fruits and vegetables out of our lives. That's where you get these life-sustaining protective nutrients. You have to have them. And you can't just go out there and eat chocolate cake all day and then think I can take my life pack and I'll be okay. It doesn't work like that. Okay, you've got to eat as good as you can eat, guys, and then you still have got to supplement on top of that and take your life pack. You know what the average American does? The average American eats 2.3 servings a day of fruits and vegetables, 2.3. The only problem is, one of those is French fries. Sorry, doesn't count. We're down to 1.3 now. No wonder it's so bad in that country. They keep pushing fruits and vegetables out, and the ones they do eat, they boil them and cook them and bake them in fat, okay? And Americans are the fattest people on the planet, right? You've seen us, okay? We're so heavy on that continent over there on North America, we're about to tip the earth out of its axis. The earth kind of goes around and goes, whoa! Ooh. Ooh. Kind of like a flat tire going around, right? Yeah, we got to fix things over there, and we're starting to do that with the biophotonic scanner. Okay, so there's 30,000 papers published now, and this is a given. No one here can argue this fact. And the fact is, if you breathe air, you are generating free radical activity in your body, and if you're doing that, you have cellular damage in your body. Okay, the only question is, how much cellular damage will you suffer yourself to take throughout your life? Will you take a lot of it, or will you take a little bit of it? Because you will take some. What's your choice going to be? Look at this, from the guy who discovered antioxidants, Dr. Lester Packer. He says there's overwhelming evidence that free radical damage and disease are linked. Overwhelming evidence. You take a lot of it, you're going to have more disease, okay? You take a lesser amount of it, you're going to live longer and live better. Your choice, right? Look at this from a cancer researcher at the University of North Carolina. What did he say? Screening populations for high or low levels of free radicals could provide a scientifically grounded application for antioxidant supplementation, a program that could vastly contribute to the nation's health. He doesn't even know we can scan. He doesn't know about us yet, does he? We can do what he's saying. He's basically saying if you could actually measure people and find out where they were with their protection against free radicals, we could then justify antioxidant supplementation for the whole country. Then it would change the health of the nation. We're doing it. We're it. We've got it. No one else can do it. Okay? Powerful thing. This guy is a mad scientist. Doesn't he look like it? This is Robert McLean. I'll tell you the story how this all happened. I was living in Salt Lake City, Utah 4 years ago, April of 2000. My telephone rings in my home office one day, and I picked it up, and on the end of the phone was this guy. And he said, my name's Robert McLean. He said, you don't know me, but he said, I'm a scientist at the Center for Biomedical Optics at the University of Utah. And he said, we've invented a new technology here that we know is going to change the world of nutrition forever. Now, that's a big statement to make. I've been selling antioxidants for 8 years at that point, and that's a pretty big promise, so I take exception with that. And first I said to him, who are you? Do you guys get phone calls like this very often? I mean, I don't. And what was your name? And what did you say you invented? And how did you get my phone number? And so we finally got the introduction done, and we started talking. And I asked some questions. And he said, no more questions. Just come get scanned. And he invited me to go to the #3 cancer research and treatment center in America called the Huntsman Cancer Center. Super high level, very credible cancer research center, adjacent to the University of Utah. And he invited me to go there to get scanned. I was impressed they even got their scanner in there. You just don't walk into top flight hospitals and start zapping people with lasers, do you? No, you have to get permission. You know, pass the boards. You know, go through protocol, right? And so they'd done all that, and they were doing a small clinical study on these terminally ill cancer patients to see if they had low scores on this scanner, if there was a correlation. And so I went into this small room at the Huntsman Cancer Center that day, and this contraption was enormous. It did not look like the scanners we have out in the hall at all. It was enormous, okay? This whole room was filled up with equipment. There's this great big sucking sound going on. It's the juice going into this big 4-foot-long laser, you know? And so there's this fiber line with a blue light coming out of it, and they put the fiber up to my hand. Okay? And so we did it. and my score came up 48,000. And these two scientists looked at each other like the machine was broken. Again. And so they scanned me again, 48,000 again. They said, one more time, just to make sure. 3 times, 48,000. Okay? And they said, well, that does it. You're the highest person we've ever measured so far. Did that mean anything to me? I thought 48,000 of what? Cheerios? I didn't know, right? I just walked into the room 5 minutes before. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to win. I like to win at everything. But I didn't know what the 48,000 meant. And so we started talking. I said, what does that mean? And they started explaining. And they were really curious about me. They said, what do you eat? What do you eat? And I said, well, I actually do eat really well. I'm very particular about my diet. I would never go to McDonald's, but I'm not perfect. And they said, what do you eat? Tell us. And I reached in my pocket, like I always do, and I had one of these. And I said, I've been swallowing 2 of these packs a day, every day, for the last 8 years of my life. And they were very intrigued. Let me see that pack. What's in that pack? Where's the ingredient list? And so it led to more questions, more questions. We talked for 2.5 hours that day. And at the end of that time, I was getting really excited. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous. I'm not a doctor, right? I'm just a salesman. But I've been selling antioxidants, and I know the key questions, right? And I'm getting great answers, and I'm getting really excited. Why do you think? Why do you think I was getting really excited? I mean, what was the one thing that I could never do for any of my customers over the whole 8 years? The one thing I could never do. What was it? Prove it. Prove it. I could never prove to any of my customers that taking my product actually did anything in their body. And here I was staring at the very technology that purported to do the one thing that I could never do. You bet I was getting excited. Okay? And I knew that none of my competitors could prove anything either, right? And I intuitively understood that day that whatever company got control of that technology would have the power to consolidate the whole nutrition industry. Because no one could prove anything. And if you could finally prove it, if you could finally measure these things, that was an enormous breakthrough. And so, to make a long story short, I called Truman Hunt. I said, you need to come see this. The whole company started their investigation. They spent a year of exhaustive due diligence. And at the end of that year, in March of 2002, Pharmanex paid the highest price ever paid to the University of Utah Research Foundation for an early stage technology. Okay? And they purchased the global exclusive rights for the whole world. Smart move. Okay? That's what they did. And so that's what happened. That's where we started. This is Gellerman right here. You've seen him on some of the videos. Okay? Dr. Gellerman is one of those German physicists in the long line of great German physicists. Very smart guy. He figured it out. They made the breakthrough. How to measure these things with the light shooting into the palm of your hand. It's a miracle. We can actually pull it off, right? What's so unique about the scanner? If you don't get anything else out of this meeting tonight, I want you to get this one point, okay? Write this down. This is another one of those key statements you need to know, because it's one of the planks, one of the platitudes we build this on, okay? The ability to measure is the basis of science. I'll say it again. The ability to measure is the basis of science. It's true, isn't it? Anybody disagree? If you do, you're wrong. You're dead wrong, okay? If you can't measure, you have no science. What's the first thing scientists have to do when they discover a new field of research? The first thing is they've got to build the measurement tool. If they don't have a scale, a yardstick, a measurement tool, some way to compare one thing against another, how do you do research? You can't, okay? If you can't measure, you're guessing. We're not guessing anymore. Everybody else in nutrition, they're guessing. They don't know. GNC doesn't know. Synergy doesn't know. USANA doesn't know. Amway doesn't know. Forever doesn't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Centrum doesn't know. Okay? We know because we can measure. We can measure and no one else can do it. That's huge. That's so powerful. Okay? How do we measure? We measure in the tissue. Not the blood, not the hair, not the urine, saliva, all these other weird places people tried, right? We measure in the tissue, right at the end location. Do you realize there's literally hundreds of biochemical steps from the time you chew food in your mouth, and it goes in your stomach and into your small intestine and into your bloodstream and gets distributed all over your body, and finally somehow through a process that no one in the world quite understands, it gets absorbed into your cell and gets parked right there in your cell next to that mitochondria where that DNA is getting hit every day so it can protect you. Okay? No one knows. No one in the whole world quite knows the whole process. Okay? Does it matter to Pharmanex that no one knows? No, because we just jump over all those hundreds of biochemical steps, however many there are. We don't care. We just jump over all. We just go right to the end location and see if it made it or not. Okay? And no one else can do that, right? Even though we're not quite sure how they all got there, and no one's sure. No one knows for sure. We know they made it. And no one else can know that because they can't measure. Only we can. Okay? That is really the key. That's the crux of it. Okay? All right. So keep that in mind. Remember that. Because of that, there's 5 things that we can do that no other company in the world of nutrition can do because they can't measure. Number 1, we can give you your antioxidant score, a brand new biomarker that everybody in the world is going to want to know someday, a biomarker that every physician is going to want to know about his patients someday. Okay. This is as significant as getting a breakthrough to measure something called cholesterol. How would you like to have a monopoly on measuring cholesterol? Wouldn't you like to have gotten that one? That would be huge, wouldn't it? This is even more significant, you guys. This is a preventative number on the front side of the problems, not the back side when your cholesterol is screwed up and your blood sugar is a mess and everything's messed up, your blood pressure is high, right? By the time you get all those bad numbers, you've done decades of damage to your body, probably irreparable. Why not look on the front side of the problem before the damage is all there and find a preventative number that you can start to look at and then change your diet and change your lifestyle and supplement and do the things that will keep you healthy your whole life. Instead of trashing yourself and getting over here and it's too late, right? That's what happens to people. And we now have a capability to give people a wellness. Kind of like the guardrail on the top of the cliff instead of the ambulance at the bottom of the hill. That's what we are. We can prevent the problem, okay? So that's what we do. So we can give them a score. No one else can do it. Nobody else in the world can give them a score. Number 2, we can scientifically improve our product. Why? Because our 78 scientists that work for Pharmanex can make a new formula, they can feed it to test groups of people, and then they can measure and see if more of it made it or not. Then they can modify it, they can feed, and they can measure again. They can modify, feed, measure, modify, feed, measure. They can evolve the products at such a rapid rate that no one can keep up. I mean, let's just assume that there's a competitor whose product is as good as ours right now. And we haven't seen one, okay? But let's say there was. It won't be as good tomorrow because they can't measure. They can't even test. They don't even know how they got there. They're afraid to change anything in case they screw it up. They don't know what they did to get there, right? That's what happens. Number 3, we now have the largest nutritional database ever assembled in the world, ever. Over 350,000 entries now. We can analyze that data and learn things that no one's ever been able to know. You give us 10 years, you guys, we'll know every country, we'll know every region, we'll know every ethnic group, we'll know everything about the whole world. We'll know where people die the fastest. We're going to know stuff that no one's ever known because we can measure now. I mean, do you understand the power of this? What were you going to do before the scanner? Before this nice little small mobile device that can go out there and go all over the world and scan people, any place there's electricity, basically, right? It's mobile. That's the whole point. You can take the scanner to the people. You can scan the whole world. You could never do that before. What were you going to do? Drag them all to a hospital and bleed them? And drag them in and bleed them again in 60 days? And bleed them at 120 and bleed them at 180 at $300 a crack? Never going to happen. Now we can physically go out and actually scan millions, super accurate, super fast, right? You understand the difference here? See, every now and again, you guys, there's something that comes out in the technology world that's so powerful, we call it disruptive technology. Disruptive technology, write that down. That's an important one that you should know. You can see it all over my website, right? Disruptive technology. I'll give you an example of disruptive technology. Today, right now, digital cameras are in the process of completely destroying film cameras, right? It's in the process right now because they're faster, cheaper, and better, right? Faster because you can see the picture right now. Cheaper because you don't have to get the film developed, right? In the end, it's a lot cheaper. And better because you can store it digitally. It never degrades, right? It's better all the way around. It's going to wipe out film for sure. It's disruptive technology. The scanner is disruptive technology because it's faster, cheaper, and better, right? Faster because it's 3 minutes, not 3 weeks. It's cheaper. It's $5 to get a scan, not $300. And it's better because it's kind of digital. It's physics. It's not chemistry. It's based on the laws of physics. Okay? Very accurate, very objective. So that technology is there. And we, number 4, offer a performance guarantee. And you guys will start to see that happen later on next year when we launch the full scanner program here. That will probably be part of the program. In America, we do that right now. That is very powerful. We can measure people. We can get their baseline score. And then we can say to them, take LifePak twice a day for 8 weeks as directed. And if your score does not go up, then we will give you all of your money back. Can anybody else do that? No, because they can't measure. You understand that? They can't even get the baseline in the first place to see if the score goes up or not. They can't measure. So we take our technology and use it. And finally, lifetime monitoring. We go out there and we can give those people a scan for free every 60 days for the rest of their life is what we'll do as long as they're on our product. Okay? So those are things we can do. It's all patented, totally protected, 8 total patents. We got them all over, both U.S. and international patents, and it's done. We're not waiting or pending. They're published, and we have a monopoly for the next 16 years to measure antioxidants in living human tissue. And no one else can do that, you guys. No one else can do it. When you have a monopoly and you control it, that's a really good thing, right? And we got complete control of this one. Okay, I'm on point number 2 now, and I'm going to go really fast with these next couple of points. We spent most of the time on number 1 because I want you to understand it exactly and completely. Okay, when I look at a new business, and if you're here tonight first time and you're looking at a new opportunity, here's what I would look for. I want a market that is really big. I want a market that's already there. I don't want to have to go create the market myself and convince people that they need to, do my product or something. I want a market that's already there. I want a market that's highly fragmented. I want a market that does not have a 6,000-pound gorilla that's already dominating that market, because then I got to contend with somebody really formidable, right? I don't want that at all. So what I want to have is I want to have a market that's got a lot of entrants, a lot of little players in it, and nobody is really dominant. That is the state of the nutrition industry in this world. There is no single huge dominant player. And if you can get disruptive technology that's really defining, and you can step into that market that's highly fragmented with something that no one else has, then you can consolidate that market. And that's what we're in the process of doing right now. In America last year, Americans spent $18.8 billion on supplements. And nobody knows if they work or not. Nobody knows. Think about that. 18 billion, almost 19 billion, and nobody knows. They're all just doing it on pure faith. They have no proof. And now for the first time we step in and prove it to them. And that market is rapidly growing. It's growing at the rate of $1 billion a year. Think about that. Huge growth. And the same thing's happening here in Asia. All over the world, people are aging. They're getting older, and they're demanding a natural alternative instead of taking pharmaceutical drugs or medications. If they can get away from that, they want to do that, right? Here's the biggest health concerns in America. The biggest concerns of people that are going into retirement. Number 1 is health problems. 32.7% are worried about having health problems. That's the worst scenario, isn't it? You can imagine. You get old, you get really sick, and you spend the last 10 years in a wheelchair or in a bed. Is that the worst nightmare you can think of? And then the second thing right here is number 2, not enough money. And you don't have it in your printout, guys, I don't think. So don't worry about looking for it, okay? That's the second thing. 29% are worried about not having enough money. You know why? Because they know if they get really sick, they're going to have all their money chewed up just trying to take care of themselves. Look at this. Only 3.5% are worried about dying. Isn't that kind of amazing? 10 times more are worried about being sick than just dying. Right? It's better off just to die sometimes instead of like have to write it out for 10 years in a bad condition, right? So that's what happens. So what would happen if you had a company that could solve the 2 biggest problems that concern people as they get older? Health problems and money problems. What if you had a company that could actually address both of those major concerns? You're staring at it, guys. There's never been a company better positioned in front of the largest demographic groups ever with the best products in the world that we can prove. Okay? That's why this is so absolutely enormous. So the baby boomers are driving it, not only in America, but all over the world. After World War II, all the daddies came home and all the babies arrived, right? Is that true? You better believe it. In America, it was massive. In 1946, the baby boom started, and the babies arrived at a furious pace, all the way up through 1964. And in 1964, the birth control pill came out, and it came to a screeching halt. Okay? In that short 18 years, more babies were born than any 18 years in the history of America. That's amazing. There's so many babies jammed into this short birthing frame, they created a huge demographic bulge in the economy. It's kind of like watching a pig go through a python. Or if you take an American football, you know the weird-shaped American footballs? The boomers look like an American football. They got a little point in 1946 when they started, and they boomed. They grew to this big fat middle part of the football, and then they kind of tapered off fast in 64. Boom. Okay? Just envision taking an American football and stuffing it in a garden hose. Could you do that? If you could, it would stretch the crap out of the hose, wouldn't it? Sure it would. That's what the boomers are. The hose is the economy. The football are the boomers. You stuff the football into the hose, and every time it moves forward, every time the boomers age, every time they migrate into a new stage of their life, they stretch the crap out of the markets they now inhabit. That's what they do. They expand them dramatically. And the companies that are right there positioned when that football moves forward and they stretch, those companies do unbelievable, incredible. And it's not something that we have to guess about, you guys. It's entirely predictable. Let me prove it to you. 1946, there's a little company called Gerber that was making little jars of baby food in America. Didn't even know what hit them. All of a sudden, all these boomers show up. Wham! That company just gets thrown to $1 billion. Didn't even know what hit them. And all of a sudden, right after that, all these kids are coming on the scene and they need toys, right? And Barbie dolls showed up. And then hula hoops, Legos, Lincoln Logs, Tonka trucks, BB guns, okay? Just went insane. I mean, just exploded those industries. Then they built elementary schools as fast as they could, and then junior highs, and then high schools as the football kept moving forward in the garden hose. And all of a sudden, the oldest boomers are in their early 20s and late teens, and now they can drive cars. And they want a car. They want a certain kind of car. They want a car called a Mustang. Remember the 64, 65, and 66 Mustangs? Sold more units than any model of car had ever sold in America to that point. Because this mass of humanity all of a sudden saw them and wanted them. And Lee Iacocca became a genius because he invented the Mustang. Okay? Well, 15 years goes by. 15 years. Mr. Iacocca finds himself at a company called Chrysler, trying to save it from bankruptcy. And everybody thinks he's a genius, but what does he really do? He just looks at the football. Where's the football now? And he sees the footballs move forward 15 years in the garden hose. And he sees that all those boomers, they now have a whole bunch of mini boomers. And they need to haul them around to their soccer and t-ball and their activities. And so he invents a minivan so the boomers can haul their mini boomers around to all their activities. Okay? And he saves a car company and makes a whole new car concept. Changed the whole car industry again, didn't he? Because of that invention. Okay? What's going to happen in 15 more years with cars and the boomers? Watch this. Guess what's going to happen? Mark my words. They'll have driver's seats that'll actually swivel and just eject you out so you can stand up. It'll happen. Okay? Yeah. The boomers are entirely predictable. You just have to look at their history and you can see where they're going. What have we done as a company? We've looked at the history. We know where they're going. We've positioned ourselves out in front of them. You know what's happened to me in my life? Twice I've positioned myself in front of the baby boomers. Both times I made over 10 million US. Both times. Okay? It works, you guys. Okay? All you have to have is enough vision. Enough vision Okay, to see that opportunity, to get out in front of it before it's obvious to everybody else. Just get out in front of it, build your position, and let the boomers come to you. And it just goes boom. Okay, ordinary people accomplish extraordinary things when the trends are right and propel you. It's always easier to swim with the current instead of against the current. Okay, find the trends that are moving through the economy and get involved with those trends and swim as fast as you can. Right? That's the key. Okay? Be smart about it. Find the trends. Biggest ones in the world are propelling this company. Okay. Number 3, product. You better have really consumable products. LifePak is already number 1. Number 1 product in the world in terms of revenue sales. Okay? Centrum sells more bottles than we sell boxes of LifePak, but we sell more dollar volume than anybody in the world. And now with the scanner, we're going to blow Centrum out of the water in the next year, in unit volume even. Okay, we're going to be the dominant 6,000-pound gorilla, guys. We're going to own this market worldwide, and everybody's going to have to contend with us because we can do something that no one else can do, right? We're the official product of the Olympic Games. We'll be there again in Athens, Greece this summer for the 2004 Olympics. We were there in 2002 in Salt Lake City. Out of 15 products in the world that are approved for Olympic athlete consumption, guaranteed not to fail a doping test, we make 9 out of the 15 products. 9 out of 15, we make them. Okay? That's unbelievable. Very impressive. You would expect a product that has this kind of endorsements would be pretty expensive, wouldn't you? Okay? It's not. It is not that expensive, folks. Okay? This product cost, in U.S. terms, about $1.75 a day, okay? About $1.75 a day, okay? Is that somebody's pager? I hope not. That's not a phone. I didn't hear that, did I? Okay. All right. That's about $1.75 a day to be on LifePak in U.S. terms, okay? That's about half the price of a Starbucks coffee. Is your health worth it? Okay, think about this. How much money did you spend today killing yourself? How much? How many coffees? How many cigarettes? How many cigars? How much beer? How much alcohol? Okay? How much money have you spent today killing yourself? How many danishes? How many donuts? Okay? How much junk, fat, sugar, garbage? How much? Okay, it's nothing to spend $1.75 to take care of yourself. It's life and death. You have to do it. It's absolutely critical. So you got to think about that closely and make sure you do it. This is really the key. That's the perfect quote, right? How many days you live will be determined by how you live your days. You got to do this every day of your life, you guys. I talked about it earlier. We're so busy. We rush here, we rush there, we grab this, we grab that. We know it's not good for us, but we eat it anyway, right? You know what people do all over the world, especially here in Asia? Do you know what they do? They spend their health to get their wealth, and then at the end of their lives, they spend their wealth in a desperate attempt to get their health back, and it's too late. How foolish is that? We take no thought of what we're doing to ourselves, and we're trashing ourselves every day a little bit. How do we change that, right? Well, here's what you do, guys. You can either eat all that stuff or you can take 2 LifePak. That's a lot of stuff, right? 50 cups of mangoes, 27 cups of green peas, 20 apples, 16 potatoes. Yeah. So it's impossible. My last question on this slide. Do you think that slide right there, do you think all that food would cost more than $3 a day, Singapore? You think? There is no more consistent, convenient, and cost-effective way to slam the door shut on your nutritional risk in your life than to take 2 LifePak every day. You can't do it, you guys. You must supplement. You cannot do it with just food alone, right? What's the RDA right here? Anybody know? RDA, what does that stand for? Recommended daily allowance set by the U.S. government as a minimum intake that you need to have. When did they set that? In the 1930s. How did they set it? In prisons. They just kept extracting fruits and vegetables out of prisoners' diets until they developed deficiency diseases like beriberi, rickets, and scurvy. And they said, whoop, that was too low. Let's give them a little bit more fruits and vegetables. Okay? How do you want to live your life? If you eat 5 servings a day, guys, you're going to basically be just barely above the line. Your 2 to 3 servings you guys are eating right now, you're right on the line. Pretty close to it, okay? Eat 5 servings, you'll be about up here. Is that how you want to live your life? Just barely hovering along above beriberi, rickets, and scurvy? That's not optimum health, is it? What is the ODA? Optimum daily allowance, set by another group of doctors after reviewing all of the literature, saying that this is the level that will give you optimum health, that will give you the protective level of these nutrients that science has shown will protect you and keep you away from all those major problems. Okay? How do you get the ODA? Apply the lemon juice twice a day, right? That's what you got to do. Then you'll get it. So who says that you must supplement? How about the physicians in America? For 20 years they fought it and said, oh, vitamins are a waste, they're expensive urine, don't take them. Okay? They finally capitulated. The evidence was so overwhelming that they came out in their Bible, the Journal of the American Medical Association 2 years ago, and finally said, we now recommend that all adults take a multivitamin daily. Who else says so? How about Dr. Richard Cutler, the former anti-aging czar for the federal government in the United States? The guy that's looking at all the numbers, all the longevity numbers, all the expenses for health care, all the stuff. What did he say? Knowing it all, what did he say? Quote, the amount of antioxidants that you maintain in your body is directly proportional to how long you will live. Think about that statement for a minute. Okay, for all of you here tonight, what is the level of antioxidants that you are maintaining in your body right now? Do you know? The only way you could know is if you got measured on the Pharmanex biophotonic scanner, right? There's no place else in the world you can find out the level that you're maintaining in your body. Is it important that everybody in the world find out their level that they're maintaining? Yeah, apparently it depends on how long you live. Everybody in the world must know this. Okay? You need to know it about yourself. Then you need to make your spouse know it. Then you need to make sure your children know it. All you mothers and grandmothers, scan your children. Make sure you know where their levels are. You will be shocked. You will change your shopping patterns. You will change the food you buy at the grocery store. You'll start to teach them one of the greatest things you can teach them, and that's how to really eat great for the rest of their life. Okay? Important. Who else says so? Who else says you must supplement? You can't do it with food alone. Who else says so? Dr. Lester Packer, the undisputed world authority on antioxidant metabolism. Undisputed. He is the man. We called him up, and we had him come to the Pharmanex labs before we ever took the scanner to market 2 years ago. We wanted a third party to look at this and give us an indication of what they thought. Okay? And so he did do that. How many of you know Lester Packer? A few of you? Just a few. Not that many. Okay. Unless you want to know what this is, so you know I'm not lying to you. Okay? Everybody go home tonight, write down Lester Packer, just like that, and type it into Google and hit search. You guys know about Google? Okay, type it into Google and hit search. Guess what you'll find? Over 15,000 hits on his name alone. Pretty impressive, right? Right? You guys don't seem too impressed. Okay. Well, let's put all of that in perspective then. Go home and type your own name in Google tonight. Let's see how many hits you get. Maybe you guys will be a little more appreciative next time we talk about this kind of stuff. Jeez, okay. He was so impressed, he went on CNN and he said this to the whole world. Quote, everyone should use the Pharmanex biophotonic scanner to learn their optimal body defense score. Do you think our competitors liked that when he did that? When he went on CNN and told the whole world to get measured by our machine? I mean, that's like gold to us. That is incredible. Okay, and then what did he say? Once you have your number, which you can all get tonight before you leave, you should do it. Do not leave here without knowing your number. He said, once you know your number, increase it. Work to increase that number. Get it as high as you can get it. Why does he say that? Because if your number's real low, you're going to take huge hits your whole life. You're not going to live as long and live as well. Increase it. Get it as high as you can. And then what does he say? Maintain it for the rest of your life. Yeah, you're going to swallow these packs for the rest of your life, okay? It's really important you understand that, because that's how you're going to have optimum health. It's impossible for you to chew enough food to do it. Okay? And then what? Do it through a diet rich in fruits and vegetables and vitamin supplements. He knows you have to supplement also, right? Everybody who gets a score today, probably be like right down in here, okay? 18, 19, 20,000. That's the average score that people get when we scan them the first time. And that's about right. It's about 2 to 3 servings a day of fruits and vegetables, maybe 22,000. You might be in that range, okay? We say to you, all of you here tonight, at a minimum, make sure you get on LifePak, okay? Get automatic delivery of LifePak, automatic reorder. That's what you want to do. We will ship it to your house on the same day every month, and we'll just bill your credit card, and it's so simple. You'll never run out. You must be on ARO, automatic reorder, for us to give you the money-back guarantee, okay? That has to happen. Why? Why? Because we don't have a mini cam in your house. We don't know if you actually swallowed both packs every day or not, do we? No, we don't. But at least we have to know we shipped it to you. That's fair, isn't it? More than fair. And so that's what we do. And so you get on it. And in 8 weeks, we'll scan you again, and you will be so pumped when you see your score jump on that scanner, and it validates what you're already feeling in your body, that you're feeling better, sleeping better, more consistent energy. All of a sudden, you're noticing those things, right? And then you're going to stick with it. And at 4 months, 16 weeks, you will then peak out and you will find your optimal body defense score. You'll be as high as you can go. And everybody's different. Everybody will peak out at a different level. Some of you in this room will peak out in the 60 and 70,000 ranges. Some of you in the room will peak out at 40,000. It doesn't really matter. You just want to get as high as you can get and keep it there for the rest of your life. That's what's important. Let's talk about business as we close this up here tonight. This is pretty interesting. Look at these numbers since we launched the scanner program in America. I mean, look at our customer increase. 500% increase in our customers last year. I mean, all of our numbers are straight up. And we're going to talk about point number 4, and that's a great company. What a track record, $1 billion in sales last year. A company whose stock has tripled in the last 9 months, gone from $8 to $24 a share in the last 9 months. Okay, great things happening all over with this company. We operate in 35 countries. You can build your business anywhere. All you business people here tonight that agree you have to have your own business, and you say, I've already done it, Nathan, I've already got my business going right here. Okay, fine. Maybe it's just a little local business, guys. You're talking about a global business here. You're talking about a business that can go all over the world. Okay, we just opened mainland China. That is just a staggering opportunity. All those people in China that join this company and all those people that get on LifePak in mainland China are all going to be underneath somebody. They've got to be in somebody's group. Somebody's going to get paid on all that volume. Might as well be yours. Might as well. Somebody's going to do it. You might as well get a piece of it, right? Look at these commissions that well, I'll show you this one first. I know you can't read this, but I wanted to show you this. We have a newspaper for financial types in America called Investors Business Daily. Investors Business Daily is actually the best newspaper you can get for investing in stocks and tracking the real indices and so forth. It's much more read than even the Wall Street Journal would be read by people on Wall Street, okay? So it's the /1 newspaper. And they track where money flows, which stocks money is going into. Look at this. Where the big money's flowing now. This was on 4/12, the 12th of April. The number 4 stock in the world that day was our company. In U.S., right there, okay? That is amazing. To be in the top 5 companies in the world for a day, money flowing into your stock. People get it. The smart money is buying this stock, you guys. Why do you think they're buying the stock? Okay? They're buying the stock because we've got some amazing things going on. Look at this. Over $4 billion in commissions paid. Listen to me close. There's not another company in network marketing history that's paid more money than us in the last 20 years. Since we started this company, we're the #1 payer. We've made more millionaires. We've paid more money to more people. We've paid the highest checks in the industry to more people than anybody has ever paid. $4 billion paid so far, and we're going to be paying shortly $1 billion a year in commissions, and then more. If you want a piece of that, you can get it. We've made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millionaires. Over 500 millionaires in this company. Can you think of another company in the world that's made so many millionaires? Can you think of it? Maybe Microsoft with all their stock options early on. But that was stock. That wasn't cash. Cash is a whole different thing. We've done it in cash. Okay, if you're going to go work hard, why not work hard where you can make big money instead of little money, right? That's the point. 20 of our distributors in this company have now earned over $20 million since they joined the company. 20 distributorships, and 2 of them have earned over $50 million in cash since they joined the company. I mean, unbelievable. You think about that. Where else can you start a business for about $1,000 roughly and end up with this kind of upside? No downside, no risk really. Where can you do that? It doesn't exist, you guys, except right here. Okay, look at this. This is April 16th, Investors Business Daily. 4 days after we had the biggest inflows going, number 4 in the world, they had an article on the company, a special report on our company. And look what they said right on the top right here. Nu Skin might have a secret weapon. It's called the biophotonic scanner. Is that pretty good? Yeah. Okay, you finally, this is another analyst, you finally have a device that can measure the efficacy of nutrients or dietary supplements you're taking. I mean, those are just killer quotes for us. Amazing, all right? Okay, this is what's happened in America. I want you to see this, guys. Because the same thing's going to happen here, and it's going to happen in mainland China, it's going to happen in Malaysia, it's going to happen all over Southeast Asia, okay? We're going to roll this program out starting in January. Look what happened in America. This was last year when we rolled the program out. We started in February of 2003 with 35 scanners. And by June, we had 168. And by October last year, 447. And by last month, March, the end of March, 782 scanners working in America. Okay, when we started off with without any scanners, we had about 1,500 LifePak orders a month. And that started to climb as soon as we got scanners. And last month, we did just under 9,000 new orders. Okay? It is explosive. You can't even believe what's going on. We've established a direct link between the number of scanners and the number of customers. In America, we're about 5% into our total deployment. We got 95% left to go. In Asia, you haven't even started your deployment yet. You guys are still in the demonstration phase. Your deployment starts in January. We will deploy literally tens and tens and tens of thousands of scanners through all Southeast Asia and all over China, okay? They're going to be in somebody's group. They ought to be in yours, okay? By this year, in December of this year, we're going to have 3,500 scanners in America. If we keep scanning at the same ratios, then we'll add over 50,000 customers in April or in December alone. Think about that, okay? That's 600,000 new customers a year in the United States. At the end of 2005, December of 2005, we'll have 10,000 scanners in America. They will be generating 150,000 new customers. They will be in somebody's downline. Somebody will get paid on all that volume for the rest of their life. Folks, this is a one-time deal. This is 3 or 4 or 5 years, and it's going to be done. All the scanners will be deployed. They'll all be all over all of Asia, and someone will have put them all out there. And whoever did it is going to be so glad they did it, because they will have taken advantage of the greatest entrepreneurial venture ever. It's like oil wells pumping. You put them out there, and they just pump out new volume every day. Your check just keeps going up and up and up every day, no matter what you do. Okay? It's a real estate grab. It's a land rush. It's nothing more than a race to go out there and see who can place the most scanners. Okay? That's it. And if you do that, they're going to produce customers. We know it. I mean, you know, a year ago, if I was standing here in front of you a year ago, I'd be using words like, well, you know what, we're getting ready to launch the scanners. We think they'll do this. We hope they'll do this. We believe there'll be this kind of result. We think we'll get this many customers. I'm not standing up here saying hope, think, believe, okay? I'm standing in front of you 1 year after the fact. We're not experimenting anymore. We've proven it. We know how many they scan. We know how many customers we get. We know how long we keep them. It's a done deal. All we're waiting for right now is to see who wants to roll it out. That's it. That's the only question that's not been answered, is who? Who is going to roll it out? That's it. Okay? 2007, 20,000 scanners in America, 300,000 new customers a month. If we can put 20,000 scanners in America, we can put 50,000 in China. Okay. Point number 5. You got to have leverage in your life, right? I'm going to actually do this one tonight, this next slide. Okay, how many people make money watching TV? Nobody. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, eventually in life we start to figure out the economics of life and we go, okay, can't make any money watching TV, I better go get a job, right? And job's interesting because job stands for Journey of the Broke. We go back and forth to work and home, back and forth every day. We really never have anything. We barely pay our bills and keep our nose above water and save a little bit maybe, and that's about it. We never really accumulate anything. And so we finally say after a while, you know what, I got to make more money than just this job. I mean, there's only so many hours, and if I'm just trading my time for hours, it's a limit. I'll never make any more. I need to get into sales. I need to be able to earn some commissions on top of my salary because there's only so many hours in the day, right? And so we go into sales. That's what I did. And I finally got a job at AT&T, that little phone company, right? I finally got a job there once. And so I started working that job, and I was doing so well. I was selling so many telephone services and computers and stuff that one day my phone in my cubicle rings, and it's my boss, big old fat Bill, and he says, Nathan, come to my office. And so I go to big old fat Bill's office and sit down in there, and you know what he said to me? He said, son, he said, you're doing so good that we're going to chop your area and raise your quota. And he said it so enthusiastically, I thought it was a promotion. And I walked back to my cube, and I sat down in my cube, and I'm thinking, I thought, okay, they're going to chop my area and raise my quota. That doesn't sound very good. That means I've got to sell twice as much in half the area to make the same money. That's definitely not good. Well, I just sucked it up. Okay, fine, I can deal with it. I just keep going to work. That's what they want me to do. And I kept performing. I just even worked harder because I wanted to make more money. I'm a motivated guy, right? There's only so many hours in the day. I got to get those commissions. And so about 3 months later, I'm doing really good. I get another phone call from Fat Bill. Nathan, come to my office. Son, we're going to chop your area and raise your quota again. They did it to me 3 times that year they did that. Okay, that probably cost me $50,000. That was real money back in the mid-'80s, you know? And I finally went right down to the main boss's office, Big Bill's boss. I went down there, Jack, and I went into Jack's office and said, Jack, I said, you guys are screwed up. You don't even know how to motivate salespeople. I said, every time I get ready to score, you guys move the goal another 20 yards away. Who can win in that game when you change the rules all the time? I said, I'm out of here. Plan on it. As soon as I figure out what I'm doing, I'm gone. You better look for my replacement. I wasn't going to stay there and put up with that baloney. You know what they do at big companies? They squeeze you. They just squeeze all the blood out of the turnip until there's nothing left, right? They go hire these young kids in college that have bright eyes, and they go, I got a job with a big company. This is great, you know? And what they don't know, after about 10 years, they're just a husk of them former selves. That's what they are. They just burn them out. Squeeze them hard. Nothing left. If you have a great year at a big company, you'll never have another one. They'll make sure of it, okay? That's just the way it is. And so what do you do? What do? You quit. You know what I did? I went into real estate, where at least I could go sell stuff and nobody would mess around with my territory. So I started selling houses. And I'm selling these houses, and I'm making good commissions. You know, I'm making more than I made at AT&T. Things are going okay. But it's all me. If I stop showing the houses and stop seeing my clients and driving them around and stuff, I don't get paid. I started closing deals to get my commissions, and I realized I'm constantly unemployed. Every time I close a deal, I'm unemployed till the next deal. Then I get another closing. Good, I get the money. Now I'm unemployed again till the next one. And it just kind of drove me nuts. I could never see how I could ever stop working and still get the money. That was all me. I was the focal point of my income generation. Listen, folks, it'll never happen. If you are the focal point of your income generation, you're in trouble. Okay? If it all depends on you, you know, if you don't show up and you don't get paid, you're in trouble. Okay? You've got to find a vehicle that allows you to leverage yourself, where it doesn't depend on you at all in the end. Right? And houses weren't big enough. So I went into office buildings. Started selling office buildings. I kept thinking, I got to sell bigger things. Get more commission. There's only so many hours in the day. If I'm going to reach my goals, I got to sell big stuff. I used to lay awake at night and fantasize that someday I could get a job at Boeing and sell 747s at $200 million a pop. It was the biggest thing I could think I could sell, that I could sell a lot of. That's how screwed up your brain is when you're just depending on you, when you don't know about leverage. I didn't know about leverage. I thought I had to do it all. It was all me. Boy, thank goodness my brother-in-law recruited me. I didn't want to be recruited, especially by my brother-in-law, right? Thank goodness he beat me in the head hard enough to crack my head open so I could figure it out. I said, Craig, I don't want to do it. He goes, you need to do it. I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm doing fine in real estate. He goes, Nathan, you're pedaling a bicycle. I'm driving a Ferrari. It doesn't matter how hard you pedal. You're never going to catch me. And I said, that's exactly the point. You're too far ahead of me. I'm too competitive. If I can't catch you, I don't want to do it. He goes, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. He goes, I'm going to make the money whether you do it or not. You just better get in now. Stop wasting time. And so I decided to join. That was 1989. Best thing I ever did, you know, because I was able to leverage myself. You know, the first year I went out there and I talked to about 100 friends. And 2/3 of them said, no thanks. You know, and some of them said it in stronger terms than that. Okay? 33 of them said, you're right. I can see this. I want to leverage myself. I'm sick to death of trading my life away for nothing. So they got involved. You know how many people quit? A lot of people quit. Plan on it. Most people can't stick with anything, right? 20 quit the first year. Now I'm down to 13 people. But they were pretty good people. And they became executives. And they found other executives who found other executives. And the company kept expanding. And today, I've got an organization in 35 countries, over 500,000 people in my organization, did over $500 million. I mean, think about that. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? From 13 people. It's just incredible when you think about it. And so the whole point is that if all those people just put in 5 minutes a day on their own business, their own New Skinner Farm and X business, just 5 minutes a day, I get paid a little bit of what all those people do. Just a little bit of all those people. So I get paid on 50,000 hours a day. That's what I get paid on. 50,000 hours a day. How many hours do you get paid on? Don't answer. Just think to yourself. Okay? And if you say 6 or 8 or 10 or 12, that's a problem. That's a real problem. That means it all depends on you, right? Do you know how early you have to get up tomorrow morning to put in 50,000 hours tomorrow, all by yourself? Really early, right? You can't do it. It's impossible if it's just you. That's the whole point. You cannot persist in trading time for money and expect to ever make anything. You got to have your own business. I've shown you a business tonight that has no risk and no debt. Only upside. Incredible upside. The best upside you will ever see in your life. When's the next time in your life you're going to find an opportunity with the global exclusive rights? Some companies go out and try to raise money and they'll say, we got the rights for all of Singapore. Or we got the rights for Malaysia, right? You never hear companies say, we've got the global exclusive rights on a breakthrough technology. We've got it. How about the endorsement of the #1 expert in the world? When's the next time that's going to happen? When's the next time you're going to have the top-selling supplement in the world already? When's the next time you're going to have the official supplement of the Olympic Games? When's the next time you're going to have the only supplement with double-blind clinical studies? And when's the next time you're going to have a 16-year monopoly to measure antioxidants in living human tissue? I'll tell you when the next time is. Never! It's never going to happen again in your life, okay? And that's why you need to take action now, tonight. Okay, you've heard enough, okay? You want to go check everything out, okay? Great. Then go to this little website at gotyournumber.com. Write that down, GOTYOURNUMBER.com, okay? Write it down. You can get all the research, all the studies, all the clinicals, all the stuff on LifePath. You can get everything right there, okay? Go do it if you have to. But do it now, you guys. Let me tell you something about human nature. I've been doing this 15 years. I've spoken to lots of rooms of people like this, okay? Let me tell you what happens, okay? If you don't sign up tonight and enroll in this company and decide you're going to change your life and get after this thing and help us change the world, if you decline that and you say, oh, I just need to think about it. I need to go home and think about it. Do you know what you're doing to yourself? It's like putting a gun to your head, okay? You know what that is? You're going to go home and you're going to forget about it. You're not going to think about it, okay? Do you know what the chances are of you signing up at this time tomorrow night, just 24 hours from now? Do you know what the chances are that you sign up tomorrow? They're 50%. Only 50% versus doing it tonight, okay? So many of you that could do this, that would be good at this, okay, that you understand what we've told you is pretty darn good tonight, only half of you will do it. And you would have been good, but you'll deny yourself it because you'll go home and try to think about it, okay? And you'll forget about it. Do you know what will happen 1 week from now? Do you know what the odds are 1 week from today? Well, first of all, you want to remember where you were 1 week ago, okay? Your chances go down to less than 1%. Folks, opportunities don't go away because you don't grab them. Opportunities go away because you pass them up and somebody else grabs them. This one's not going to go away. Do you think our 16-year patents are going to go away because you decide not to do it? Do you think we're going to stop making scanners and producing life hack because you decided you weren't going to do it? No. We're going to march ahead without you. We will do this with or without you. It will be absolutely massive. Okay? You just have to decide if you're going to plug in. Okay? And you should do it. And you should plug in tonight. Don't wait and don't procrastinate. Okay. I'm going to actually see if I can figure this thing out. I just want to show you a couple pictures in closing. Can I take just a few more minutes? Would you allow me that? Okay. Now, that's not my helicopter. You all thought it was, didn't you, right? Okay. It's not my helicopter. But that's a good friend of mine, and we have a fun time going around in that, okay? What I want to do, and I don't want to do this in the wrong spirit. I don't want you to think I'm trying to brag to you, okay, because I'm not. What I really want to do is I want you to get it. I want you to see what it means to be successful in this kind of a business, okay? I want you to see that there's literally no limits. You can literally do the things that you want to do when you want to do them, okay? So I had my friend take me up so I could take some pictures from the air of some properties that we have so I could just show them to people like you so you could get some vision. You know, so many times we get programmed wrong over all of our schooling and all of our life, and people tell us you just need to have a job and you can't really do big things, you can only do little things, and sometimes we just don't understand what we're capable of. You can do anything you want, okay? You just got to find the right vehicle. If you've not been successful in your life yet, don't think it's you. You've probably never been in the right vehicle first, right? That's the whole key. Okay. This is the home of an incredible person by the name of Clara McDermott. Have you ever heard of her before? If you don't know who Clara is, Clara is the only person in the world sponsored to New Skin Company. There's only one distributor in the whole world that actually got sponsored by the company. The company had to sponsor one to get it all started, didn't they? I mean, Clara's kind of like Eve, you know, or something like that, right? Okay. And so everybody in the whole world is in Clara's downline. Wow, huh? Don't get too excited. She only gets paid 6 levels like everybody. Okay? Just like you. All right. So this is where Clara lives, in a little town called St. George, Utah. This is her soccer field for her grandchildren right here. She's got several soccer fields here. Okay? And this is her garage where she keeps her cars. There's some cars right there. Okay? This is a little aerial view of the property. And let's see here. This is the main house right here where she lives. Okay? And this is the health club part of the property. So here's the main house, and there's the health club, and that's got an indoor pool, and it's got an indoor racquetball court and weight rooms and all kinds of fun stuff in here. Okay? And these are different lakes and ponds she has on the property. And this is a desert we live in, but it's very beautiful desert. And it's a really coveted retirement community. Okay? So anyway, that's the aerial shot right there. Now, this is my humble abode. Looks kind of small compared to Clara's, doesn't it? It is. I don't have the whole world, okay? Now, that's my house right there, and I just purchased this land so I can expand my yard over here. And you can kind of get a little shot from the air. You can see what it looks like. Okay? And this is the cabana in the backyard that we barbecue all the food on for the kids while they're swimming. They can just sit up here at the counter, and we got nice barbecues. And this is the back porch, and the pool and stuff is right here. This is my backyard. And this is where we keep the horses, all back here inside the fence. And there's a river that runs right on the back here. It's really kind of nice. And it's, you know, in a desert, it's hard to have that much green stuff, and it's really nice to have it nice and green like that. Now, I had a dream a long time ago when I was a little boy. I had a dream I wanted to own a ranch, like a cowboy ranch, you know, with cows and horses and everything, right?
And so I always wanted that ever since I was a little boy, and I wrote that down as part of my goals a long time ago. And after I started becoming successful in Nu Skin, and we had some countries open and things were going well, I went ranch shopping. And I did that for about a year. I didn't even work the business. I just was looking at ranches every day all over the place. And so I finally found a place that I wanted, and this is the entrance gate to the ranch. And that's one tree that was over 100 feet tall. We cut it down off the ranch and drug it down the road, and we built this little entryway out of it. And this is one of my daughters and a friend, and they've all got their own horses. And they are just drinking out of the river that runs right through the front of the ranch there. And this is a little ranch house on the property, and this is a nice little pond with really nice fish in it. We planted them in there, and we feed them. They get really big. Okay, so you can walk out the front door and just throw your fishing line in right there. Okay. This is another lake on the ranch, and this is a friend of mine who's doing what we call float tubing. It's just a pontoon thing that you can sit in with your waders, and you can just float out there and fish, right? And he's doing that. And same friend, these are the four-wheelers that we buy. These are really fun. Have you ever done that? You can drive right up the sides of mountains. You can go all over the place on these four-wheelers. I mean, it's really fun. It's about the only way you can get all the way through the really rugged mountain terrain, you know, and go over logs and stuff and all those things, right? Now, this is a mountain on the back of the ranch, and this mountain is over 3,000 meters high, okay? And we own this mountain. We're able to buy it. And you can see another lake out here in the distance, and this is a friend of ours. And that's just kind of a shot of part of the ranch there. See that lake? Lake over there. And these are some of our friends. This is my wife right here. There's one of those machines, see? We drove that machine clear up on top of that mountain. Isn't that amazing? It's really fun. And there's Nathan, Cowboy Nathan, right there. Remember that little house with that fishing pond in front of it that I showed you a moment ago? There it is, right there. Can you see it clear down there, those white fences? Clear down there, 5 miles down there. Let's see. Your island is 28 miles long and 15 miles wide, right? Is that right? Somebody told me that today. 28 miles long and 15 miles wide. Singapore, right? This ranch is 5 miles long and 3 miles wide. 6,500 acres. Isn't that amazing that one person can buy their own forest? That's incredible, isn't it? That wouldn't have happened without this business, you guys. This business has made it all possible. Okay? And you can do the same thing. Okay? This is another house on the ranch, and it's right on the river, and it's got beautiful trees, and we can sit there on the deck and look over the river and watch it roll along. It's really nice. This is another lake, and my kids love to canoe, so they get the canoe, like the Indians had, you know, the Indian canoe, and they just canoe out there, and the water is so clear you can just look all around you and see the fish everywhere swimming, because it's so pristine. There's no pollution at all. Comes right off the snowpack, just melts. The snow melts, comes right down, you know, right through. It's just beautiful. There they are, kind of looking and paddling. This is more of them. They're all on their horses. Took a little horse ride, thought they'd go, and we love riding horses. All my daughters have grown up kind of on the ranch, and we go there in the summers, and we go there, you know, in the winter sometimes. And I can't tell you how great it's been for our family. What a great set of experiences they'll never forget. And my two littlest daughters, I've got 4 daughters. My 2 littlest girls, 4 girls, no boys. They say that's all my fault. Okay, that's okay. I love my daughters. So these 4 girls we have, the oldest one was 8 years old when I bought the ranch in 1993, okay? And the youngest one was just 1 year old, just a baby. So she's never known a time we didn't have the ranch. She's always just gone to the ranch her whole life, right? And, you know, what a great legacy. You know, someday my daughters will have the ranch for their families and for their children, you know. I mean, what a great thing to do for your family. So those kids can have those memories and those experiences, those grandkids. And I look forward to having a blast with all my grandkids someday at the ranch and teaching them how to ride horses and fish and, you know, learn how to live in the mountains and be careful because there are bears and mountain lions and stuff, you know. And so it's amazing when you can see those wild animals, right? It's a great thing. This is another friend. He's just hanging out. This is my oldest daughter, Jessica. She just finished her first year at college at Brigham Young University in Utah. And she's riding bareback, just like the Indians used to. Sometimes we won't even put the saddle on. We just jump on them bareback just to see if we can stay on. All right? This is a strange picture. I never saw 3 horses pee all at once. So I decided to take a picture, you know. And this is my second daughter, Jenny. This is my third daughter, Rebecca, and that's my little baby, Elizabeth. And there's a friend right there. Okay? This is my wife, and that's another friend right there. This is the ranch in the winter. Isn't that amazing? We were up there this winter, and this snowstorm came in, and it snowed for almost a day and a half straight. And it dropped 3 feet of snow, about a meter of snow on us, and we couldn't get out. We had to wait for another day to dig out, take our tractors and get back to the highway. It was really fun to be snowed in, right? Because we have these machines. Have you ever been on snowmobiles? They're really fun. I mean, it's like you're floating on a cloud. You go out on all this snow, and it's like it's like you're on a cloud, like you're in the air, and you're just flying along. You can go even 50, 60 miles an hour. I mean, it's really a blast, something you really ought to do. Now, my sponsor, who recruited me on the phone that night, that told me I was riding a bicycle and he was in a Ferrari, he's got some really nice properties. He's got about 7 houses in America, and this is one of them. This is a big old replica by a lake of a monster coming out. These are totem poles that Native American Indians would carve in the old days, and he's got a lake there. And this is actually a bedroom that he put in an old boat so you can sleep on that. And this is the main house. This is 1,000 acres on the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, in the state of Washington. It has 1,000 acres and over a mile of the Pacific Ocean beachfront. This is another one of his homes in Hawaii, right in Oahu. This is on the Pacific. And what a great place to go relax. Nice pool and, you know, just a great relaxing area. And that's the view out of the back of the ocean. You know, in our family, it's kind of strange because we don't really go to resorts to vacation, because in our family we have nicer places than all the resorts. So we just kind of go to our own family properties all over the whole United States and enjoy them. And you know, there's more to life than just having properties and enjoying them. And there's lots of other things we like to do, okay? There's lots of things we like to get involved in. And someday I'll show you some pictures of some of those things. But not this Christmas, but the last Christmas, we took all of our girls to Bolivia. And we worked in cerebral palsy centers. We worked in building schools in Bolivia, because we said to our kids, you guys have everything that every kid could ever want. You know, there's no use in buying more Christmas presents. Why don't we take all the money that we would spend on Christmas, and let's take Christmas down to these children in Bolivia. And so we did that one Christmas, because we want to do those things. You know, there's a lot of need out there in the world, right? You know, the day will come when you've got enough and you feel very secure about yourself. And along the way, what you want to do is be giving back, okay? And I just want to ask for your help. You know, this world is becoming a more sick place all the time. And people's health is getting worse all the time. And people are eating worse diets all the time. And what we have is a way to change some things. Literally, is there anything better you can do than give people another 10 good years of their life? Another 15 good years? Can you think of any greater gift that you could give to someone? That is what you can do with Pharmanex, okay? And it takes all of us to do it. Okay, we're going to change the world one person at a time. You change, and then you can help change other people. And you can help save other people, okay? It's really important to do that. I want to thank you for your attention. You've been a great crowd. Good luck to you in all you're doing. We'll see you. Good night.